Call the December Parks and Rec Board meeting to order. If everyone could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. I will read the appeal of decisions pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws. Please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. Before we go to consideration of minutes, I'd like to welcome back Macy Amos from our legal counsel from maternity leave. Congratulations on your baby girl. We're glad to have you back.
It's good to be back.
4 months went quickly. All right, so consideration of minutes. If hopefully everyone's read them. Any changes? If not, entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are approved. Any Metro Council referrals today? There are none today. Moving on to public comment period. The public comment period is at the beginning of every meeting, as we know, and it can last up to 20 minutes. For those, there are two today who are going to give public comments. You have up to 2 minutes. State your name when you come up, and please state the topic you're going to talk on, because the topic has to relate to a topic on the agenda. Steve, I see you ready to go, so I'll let you come up first, introduce yourself, and tell us what topic, and we'll have a timer on for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Good to see you again. I want to I noticed on the agenda that the Homeless Memorial is on there. I want to thank you for that. This has been an ongoing thing for many, many years. I'm not affiliated with it this year, but had played a role in that in years prior, and I just want to thank you for that. That's really very helpful to the community. I wanted to take the opportunity to add a perspective too on some homeless issues. There are people who hang around parks and everything else and take photographs and pictures, and they see a hand exchange and they go like, see, there's open air drug dealing that's going on. And I want to just say that's not drug dealing. What happens in poor communities, people go out there and say, hey, I got a quarter. Anybody, can I just buy a cigarette? They're selling singles. That's what they're doing. They're not going out there and having drugs, open air drug. It's just not happening. The other thing on needles, people who are diabetic, they can go out there and in their car and do things. When you're homeless, you kind of have to do more stuff in the open. So they're not doing heroin, they're diabetic or something. And so I just want to add a different perspective on that. On Titans Day, people go out and they have their little cups and they're drinking and everybody's having a good time. But it's interesting that, you know, poor people, I guess they just don't have their little cup, so they have their little brown bag, and that gives the police probable cause to go out in there and say, hey, you can't do that, you're drinking, and maybe we can get you for public intoxication. And so there's just kind of a little double standard that takes place there, and I just want to, you know, mention that. There are people that have ulterior motives and call the police department and say, there's bums on the street corner, get rid of them, or there's bums in the park and, you know, I don't feel safe. And I'm sorry, that's not a dispatchable call. A call is to go out there and there's a violation that is taking place. Going out there and say, I don't feel safe or something, that doesn't cut it. Because what people do is they go out there, they get their calls for service, and then they get the printout and go to the media and say, look, all the calls for service, see all the problems that are happening over there? And it's really bogus. And so I just want to bring that to your attention because there's another perspective on things. Have a great Merry Christmas. Good to see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next for public comment is Ingrid Campbell.
Good afternoon. My name is Ingrid Campbell. I'm with McFerrin Park Community. I'm going to digress because I think I want to speak to the next meeting and actually have more feed-in for my community. I have some, but I'm waiting for some other additional information. But I did want to make my name and my location known, and you will hear more from me soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. We'll move on to old business, 11-23-09. Staff request approval of a 18.34 acre conservation greenway easement dedicated for the Whites Creek Greenway located at 3465 West Hamilton Avenue. Parcel ID listed in notes for the purpose of future expansion of the Whites Creek Greenway. This is in Council District 1. Would like a report from the Acquisition Committee?
Yes, Acquisition Committee reviewed this item and voted unanimously to support and approve.
Is there any questions? I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We'll move to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the entire consent agenda unless there are any changes. No changes.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. All right, moving to new business. The Nashville Park 1223-05, the Nashville Parks Foundation requests permission to raise funds and ultimate acceptance of an in-kind grant valued at approximately $200,000 for the second phase of the Watkins Park Pump Track. Watkins, in parentheses, Watkins Pump Track 2, and completed improvements at Watkins Park. There's no required match or other obligation required by Metro Parks associated with this grant. No money will be coming to the Metro Parks. The Nashville Parks Foundation will solicit community input and work with Metro Park staff in planning the pump track expansion. The project will not proceed without park staff approvals. This is in Council District 19.
Staff recommends approval.
Staff recommends approval. Are there any discussion before we entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
There's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. 1223-06 will be deferred to the naming committee at the next meeting. 1223-07, the Lamar Company's request approval to amend the current license agreement between Metro Parks and the Lamar Companies to include an 18-month extension for the billboard currently located at 180 Anthus Drive at Nashville 37210 in Wharf Park, Council District 19. Staff recommends approval. Any questions for the director or staff?
Yeah, I have a question. What's the consideration? What's the rent there? I'm just curious.
They pay $9,000 a month. The billboard was there when we acquired it. It will be the location of what is now being called Wharf Park. And again, we have this licensing agreement in place for them to remove it. But considering we don't really have a definite timeline for when construction will start on the park, I think they have requested an extension.
Great, thanks.
All right. The motion for approval?
Second.
Have we already? No, we did. Okay, sorry. I got any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. 1223-08, staff request approval of proposed fee changes for golf cart rentals. The adjustments are based on surveys of other cities and facilities. I think John Holmes is going to give us a overview of what this is about.
The plan is, I believe, we are going to do a comprehensive fee survey and overall fee proposal next year. But because we are in the process of doing a new cart contract for the rental carts. We needed to go ahead and do this change now. So that's why we're bringing this one change to you. And as it says, we did a survey and our fees are still below what is standard in the industry right now in this area.
So for today, what do you want us to do?
Approve the fees that we have proposed.
Okay. Are there any questions for John? Yes.
Just so I'm clear, you're saying with the proposed increase, our fees would still be below. Not currently they're below, we understand that. But even with this increase, would they still be below or at the industry average?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, John.
Any more questions? Entertain a motion
I
of
make a
approval.
motion to approve.
And second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Oppose? The motion carries. All right. We're moving on to special presentations and staff recognition. The first recognition of Officer Clay Whitworth with Metro Parks Police will be deferred today. And we'll move to the next presentation, which is Live Nation, to present annual update to the board. These updates, presentations are to last up to 7 minutes.
Hi, good afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alessi Nair. I'm the GM at Ascend, and this is our annual recap. First of all, I just want to extend a thank you to the Parks Board and everyone at Parks for their unwavering support the past season. We really appreciate your support and partnership, and we couldn't do it without you. So I just want to start off by saying that. I'll introduce the team real quickly. Sally Williams is our president of Nashville Music and Business Strategy for Live Nation. We've got Brian Benson as our senior talent buyer. Janine Beeson is our regional vice president of operations. And our newest member of the team is Brogan Barker, who recently moved to Nashville and took over as our operations manager. 2023 recap real quick. We had 5 events that would qualify as civic, symphony, or special events. We had 30 promoted shows and for a total of 35 total events. We'll run through some numbers real quick. We had a 47% of music fans at Ascend were from the Nashville area in 2023. Our total attendance was 151,000. Our fan retention was 90%, so 90% of fans said they would recommend seeing a show at Ascend. And we hired 190 employees. That includes seasonal and full-time. In terms of direct economic impact, we were a little over $3 million total. Of that, Metro revenue and taxes was about $1.5 million, with local tax being $383,000 and state tax being a little over $1.1 million. Food and beverage sales tax was $356,000. Liquor sales tax was $218,000. In terms of base rent, seat fees, and charitable contributions, we were at $926,000. That was broken out by $740 was base rent and seat fees, and $186 was charitable contributions, split pretty evenly between Metro Parks Foundation and the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. We just want to call out our partnership with the Nashville Parks Foundation, and Luis Bryan has been a tremendous partner to us. Our contribution this year was $108,000, up a little bit from $105, and much of that was due to our special event rentals, which was great. In terms of our DBE spend, disadvantaged business enterprise spend this year, our percentage was 28%. For a qualifying spend of $821,000. Since we opened in 2015, our spend is at 29% for a total of $4.6 million. I want to chat through some of our sustainability initiatives at Ascend. This is something we take very seriously, as we know we're in a park, and we focus on this significantly. We diverted 60 tons of waste, composted almost 20,000 pounds, recycled almost 85,000 pounds, had a ton of donations at 15,000 pounds. 120,000 pounds of waste was diverted for a total diversion rate of almost 46%. Among all Live Nation venues in the country, we have the most compost and most donations, which is something we're really proud of. We have our turn cup program, which I think you'll remember from last year, where our cups are used and then they are sent off site to be washed and then we use them again. So they're completely sustainable. There's no waste. So we, of that, we avoided almost 36,000 single-use plastic cups, eliminated 647 pounds of plastic. Our cup return rate was 85%. We saved 1.59 tons of CO2 emissions, and we had 72% less carbon emitted than if we use single-use plastic. We'll talk through some of our community impact with various partners. Compost Nashville, we almost got to 20,000 pounds of compost that then goes to plant the seed for soil for them. A new partner for us this year is Habitat for Humanity of Greater Nashville. We donated almost 4,000 pounds of various items to them. They've been really great and tremendous partner. Justice Industries, we donated and recycled about 37,000 pounds of glass. Musically Fed is a partner of ours for food donation programs, which I'll touch on in a minute. And then a new partner for us is Dismas House, where we donated various items, including umbrellas, blankets, and clothes. We work with TerraCycle to donate, really hard to recycle products like cigarette butts, vinyl gloves, solo cups. Goodwill, 128 pounds to them. Waste Management, we recycled almost a little over 47,000 pounds. And then Turnip Green Creative Reuse, 326 pounds. Like I mentioned, we have a great partnership with Musically Fed, where we donate to various organizations across Nashville, including Matthew 25, Room at the Inn, and Nashville Rescue Mission. Since we started this program in 2021, we have donated 5,600 meals. This most past year, we donated 2,100. So it's something we're really proud of. We work with our artists and let them know that we will take any of their food from catering. Something we've never highlighted, but I wanted to call out specifically, is our partnerships with nonprofits at Ascend. We work with our partner at Legends Hospitality to hire these folks. You can see these are some of the organizations we've worked with since we've opened. Since Ascend opened in 2015, we've donated $865,000, and most recently 108 of which were spent the last year. So something I just wanted to call out specifically. This year we got nominated again for the Red Rocks Award for Polestar, Best Outdoor Venue in the Country, something we're really proud of. So 3 years in a row. Hopefully this year we'll win, but just wanted to call that out. In terms of 2024 plans, we have a couple of venue improvements we're looking to do, some concessions, infrastructure updates, replacing and repairing our video screens, some portable vehicle deterrents to improve safety, and an upgraded staff break area. Here is a look at our 2024 event calendar. Most of this was completed at the end of November, so we're pretty close here. We've got a nice mix of civic and symphony events and promoted shows. So this is where we stand currently. And I just want to say thank you again, and we're looking forward to a great year next year, and thank you for your partnership.
Are there any questions? What was it, you used a term, it was the special event rentals, what is that?
Those are corporate rentals that we do that, sometimes in our club that corporate folks will come in. It's not open to the public.
Okay. I thought the sustainability facts were amazing, so
Thank you.
good job.
I appreciate that.
Anything else? Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next presentation, Friends of Bells Bend Park.
Hello, I'm Sharon Work with Friends of Bells Bend Park. Thank you for your interest in Bells Bend Park. It's been a great year at the park, so I'm just giving you a short update of some of the things that we've done. Each year, the group, Friends of Bells Bend, works with the Metro Park staff to do two special events. The first of those is the outdoor show in April, and it features outdoor recreation activities and outdoor recreation vendors. We had about 650 people that participated in that this last year. Our second event is Farm Day, and that's probably our most popular day. We have farming equipment, animals, all kinds of activities that involve farming or old-time games and activities. Our most popular thing that happens on Farm Day is our hay ride that rides around the park all day, 2 wagons that are always full. This year, we brought back our fiddle competition, so we also had a fiddle competition. We had about 1,400 people attend this year, and that's about double from last year, so it's become quite popular. Some other things that volunteers do at the park, at Archaeology Day, which is not sponsored by the Friends Group, but the Archaeology Association, we had a booth that, or part of an activity that helped talk about the history of the park and the conservation of the Bells Bend area. We also work with invasive species because we have lots of invasive species to remove. We assist in leading programs at the park and hikes, and we work in the garden on an ongoing basis, always in the garden. In October, we requested from the park board permission to work on the 1852 farmhouse that's located in the park. And we got permission, so we're starting to gather up things to start working on that. Our first item will be the stabilization of 4 chimneys. And then after we get the chimneys stabilized, we'll be working on the siding and the windows to see if we can get that house back in some kind of order that can be used for programming. So we're looking forward to a productive 2024 to repeat some of these things and maybe do some things better. Any questions? Nope.
Thank you so much. Friends of Beaman Park is the next special presentation.
Hello, my name is Jim Haney. I'm the current president of Friends of Beaman Park, soon to be the old president of Beaman Park. And I'd like to introduce Emily Fauché, who's going to be taking my spot.
Thanks, Jim. I'm Emily Fauché. And updates with Friends of Beaman Park. This year we've had a lot of activities, particularly with volunteers and volunteer events, invasive removals, particularly down by the barn, the Proctor barn, and also around the parking lots. We have had volunteers at our trailheads with trailhead greeting, being there in the parking lot to be a presence in the park and to welcome people and orient people to the park. And we've also had plantings for the wildflower garden and purchasing equipment for the parks as well. We've launched a new website this year, which we're very excited about. And we have done a lot of reorganization with our board, and we're excited to welcome some new board members soon this year as well. Next year, we're looking forward again to doing some more invasive removals, more volunteer events, and supporting the parks and the nature center in the ways that they need. We also this year had a really successful Blue Moon Bluegrass at the barn event. We invited people over to the Proctor barn where we had a bluegrass band play and a fire and presence of Friends of Beaman Park, and it was a really lovely night. So looking forward to maybe having another event in the upcoming year as well. Any questions? Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you for everything. All right, this is our day of special presentations. The Friends of Sevier Park will present next.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Melanie Moran. I'm the current president of Friends of Sevier Park. A little background on our group. We were first created in 2013, and we're active for several years, but have been dormant really since the pandemic. So this summer we kind of relaunched. We elected a new board leadership, and are working now really to set priorities for the coming year. We do have funds in our bank account from our past activities, which was primarily Sevier Park Fest, music festival held in Sevier Park. So we do have funds to draw from. So far, since we've relaunched, we elected our new board. We've had meetings with various stakeholder groups, including establishing a good relationship with the community center in the park, which is such a tremendous asset. And you approved a new water fountain that we are purchasing for the community center, so thank you for that. We're in the process now of getting that done. We've had great engagement from various park staff, including Joe Stovall and Sean Alexander. So thank you so much for supporting us and helping us find our way. The Historic Commission, we are working with Tim Walker so we can maximize the excitement around the relaunch of Sunnyside and everything that's happening in the park, hopefully this spring. Louise, we haven't met, but you provided great counsel to me already, and we're also working with the 12 South Neighborhood Association and the Farmers Market in the park. So really just trying to engage as many stakeholders as possible. As I mentioned, over the next several months, we'll be looking at how we can best support the park and then arrange our fundraising and outreach efforts around those priorities. And yeah, we are looking forward to a relaunch this spring. As part of looking at all of this and digging in, I realized that this year, 2023, was the 75th anniversary of the founding of Sevier Park. So even though we'll be in 2024, I think we can still kind of leverage it as an anniversary celebration. Any questions?
Well, that's
I
great.
just wanted to make a comment. I talked about this a couple of months ago, that I got a chance to have a tour of the Sunnyside Mansion and was super impressed with the work that's being done and really excited about, that being completed. But I think the thing that I wish I had also talked about then, and I can talk about now, is that there were some additional facilities that weren't part of the work and the renovations, and I've forgotten the names of those buildings, but there seemed to be, with the tour that I was on, a tremendous interest in the community and from the people who had been working on the project to continue working on some additional facilities there, and how, just what an incredible opportunity that could be. So I hope that those things end up happening some way, somehow. But those two buildings were, you can probably name them.
Well, there's what was a folly, an architectural folly on the property that looks like a gazebo, kind of, that is in the historical photos, but that was not included in the plans. There's also the building on the 12th and Kirkwood corner of the park it's been referred to as a dentist's office or a law office. It has columns if you've been to the park, and it's in good condition, but it's not currently really being used other than for storage. So that's something else we've talked about, possibly some kind of community or park use for that.
Yes, and the other structure was a very simple smokehouse, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
That could have revenue generating opportunities and just programming opportunities in a very small smokehouse. But anyway, I thought.
Yeah, it's an interesting looking building.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Any further questions?
That's a great report, and so glad y'all reinstituted the Friends group, and I drive by there a lot, and they're just very active in that corner, so.
Absolutely.
Great park, and the house is looking great, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for all those presentations. Now we're going to move on to capital projects. Joe?
Good afternoon. Wonderful to have all those friends groups and those partnerships. As you'll see in your packet, we have the highlighted stuff. I'll go over the majors. First in Gay, we started the construction documents as of the 1st of December. Fort Negley, the design for phase 1 is at 30%, currently under review. The Fort Negley stonework repair phase 2 is about 75% done. We should be done with that by mid-February, early March. The Hartman restrooms, the co-op was approved by council in November, so we are in the process of implementing that on site. I believe I mentioned this last month, but just to mention again, Cossey Gardner Senior Phase 2 is now open for public use. It looks fantastic. I was out there yesterday. Really looks good. Mill Ridge Phase 2, we actually had the design kick off on the 30th of November instead of waiting until the 15th of December. So that design is actually underway now. Old Hickory Community Center, the bids are due back on the 6th of December, so I believe that's Friday. No, that's tomorrow. So, Wednesday. So we should have, by next meeting, we should have solid bids to move forward on that, hopefully. And then we are still on track for Severe Sunnyside to open up towards the end of February. So with that said, any questions? No?
Thanks, Joe. All right, moving on to greenways and open space. Cindy?
Hello. Lots of good news. The first item I want to make sure, say it now so don't forget, the greenway behind First Horizon Park that was closed so often during events is slated to open again in March. We'll have a celebration for that. If you recall that adjacent developer of mixed-use development in left field, basically behind left field, is adding a section of greenway that will allow that to be open to the public, 365. So we are very excited about that. In the same vein with developer partnerships, the Ariza Bellevue project at Harpeth River met with the development team last week as they're moving forward with the greenway component of that project. If you remember the greenway, it has to happen with that project for that project to move forward. So we're working on the most complicated part of that, which is getting beyond the CSX railroad that is a barrier at the moment. And Bellmead Plaza on Richland Creek, we'll be meeting with that design team next week to start looking at the detailed design for the greenway component of that project. The Charlotte Corridor Rail with Greenway, we're continuing to work with the railroad on the first phase easements. The 440 Greenway, right outside our door from Park Plaza down to Centennial Park, we're finishing up drawings and then in permitting on that project. The 440 Greenway, Sevier Park to Browns Creek Park, project design is finished. We're in our permitting process there. We have been notified that the no-rise permit part of that project can take likely a year to get approval from FEMA. I hope it'll be sooner than that, but we really don't have any control over that. So, and the reason we're getting that no-rise, there's a boardwalk component adjacent to Browns Creek that has to happen. So we feel confident that we'll get our permitting, but we still have to go through the process on that. And lastly, the Whites Creek Greenway, Hartman Park to Buena Vista. We were discussing this earlier in acquisition. That's a project that will utilize flood buyout property to extend the Whites Creek Greenway from Hartman Park down to Buena Vista, which will have an entire connection from Mullins all the way to Buena Vista when we're complete there. And then we're continuing to work with the Planning Commission and the Planning Department as new projects come through that are planned on the greenways. It's just like the one you approved earlier today to continue to assemble greenway right-of-way across the county. That's all I have.
Any questions for Cindy? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Jackie, upcoming special events and activities?
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy holidays. So your list is short. Usually it's a lot longer than that. That's probably the shortest list of events that you've had in quite a while. But even though your list is short, there's still a lot going on in our park system. So I'm going to read these fairly quickly. Just a reminder, and I've spoken with you about this before, the annual student and staff holiday exhibit and sale at the Art Center is still going on. That's a great place to get unique handmade gifts and items for the holidays. The sale will be going on through December 20th. On December 14th, we have the 29th annual Season to Remember. It's scheduled from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Centennial Arts Center. The purpose of this event, as many of you know, is to honor and remember victims and survivors of homicide during the holiday season. Our Centennial Sportsplex is sponsoring a holiday food drive that will benefit Second Harvest Food Bank. Now, here are the details on that. If you donate 2 or more items between now and December 14th, excuse me, you will receive $3 off any public skating session. If you donate 2 or more items between December 15th through December 31st, you can get $3 off the admission for the fitness center. So keep that in mind. And as always, our community centers are always busy. They're hosting a variety of community events ranging from toy and bike drives to holiday movies and dinners to clothing giveaways. So if you're near a community center anytime during the holidays, please drop by and try to participate. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Jackie. All right, we're going to move to the report of the director.
Thank you, sir. First off, thank you to all of you board members who participated in our site tour visit last month. I really wish we'd had more time to visit with the maintenance division, and so did they. We really barely scratched the surface of getting into all of what they do. So, of course, we will continue our field trip series, and we'll have a part 2 for maintenance, and also we'll include Parks Police in our visits as well. It's important for you to hear and see some of the detail of the behind-the-scene strategies or how sausage is being made in the park system. Having said that, you all had requested that our divisions be given an opportunity at park board meetings to kind of give you an updates on what they're doing and activities of the division. Our consolidated maintenance division will be first up at next month's parks board meeting, so you'll have an opportunity at that time to hear more about consolidated maintenance, but we will still keep them on the tour. They were pretty bummed that they didn't get more time. They were really prepared. As information, I hope to fill fairly soon here a new senior level position in the department. Among other duties, the position will be charged with developing MOUs with our friends groups, which is that sprung from our Parks and Greenways Master Plan to Play that had not been implemented. So I'm excited about that. This person or individual in this position will also serve as our Metro Council liaison. I'm excited about that as well. And then to also represent the department in other contract-specific work. Those are not all the duties, but those are some highlights. You all may remember that our community engagement survey for Brookmead Park closed last Thursday. And as soon as those results are formatted and reviewed, we will publish that information. So look for that to come fairly soon. Our multi-divisional working group, really led by John Holmes and his team in revenue producing, is continuing exploration and research efforts for an updated point of sale system. We're looking for a point of sale. We have one now, but there's some limitations. Certainly as we move forward, it's much more efficient to have the ability for such things as online reservations or class registration. That's easier for the end user and ultimately will be more efficient for us. So we are, again, gathering information from vendors, which will ultimately inform a cost estimate that I share and a funding request that I will make to the city to get this in place. Our cross-divisional working group, another group internally, will convene next summer to start, as John referenced when he was speaking, a comprehensive fee review across the department. As you probably, I don't know if some of you have been on the Parks Board since we've done one, but fairly frequently, we take a look at all of the fees and charges across the department and adjust those as needed. And we have not done that since 2020. Immediately after we completed that review in 2020, and you approved those fees, the pandemic was here. And so we did implement those fees, but have only in the past couple of years only been able to realize those revenue increases associated with those fees. So we will do that review again, starting in next summer with intentions to bring recommendations, across the board recommendations to you all, either in December or January, to implement those in 2025. Thank you to the Nashville Parks Foundation, who will again sponsor our employee holiday gathering on December 15th this year. We very much appreciate your generosity and support. And then finally, as a reminder, the January 2024 Parks Board meeting has been rescheduled to January 9th. And that is all I have. Do you have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have one, Mr. Chairman. All right, the senior position, is this a new position, like a newly created one, or this is one that you just need to fill?
It is a new position, newly created position.
Wonderful. I appreciate the government liaison aspect of it. That will be incredibly impactful. And then considering the Brookmead survey, I just have this one question. I know that there will be a charter school that will be moving into the Brookmead space. Will that at all do we need to have conversations between MNPS and parks around just any kind of supports for that school?
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't see anything in the future, but just wanted to ask.
Thank you for asking. I mean, I don't believe so. We have a very strong, as you know, relationship with MNPS anyway. So if something comes up, then we will. But at this point, no.
And I'll just let you know, I'm not as familiar with the school site. I know it needs tons of renovations, but in its proximity to the park. But I would let you know, and we can talk about this offline, of course. It's one of our charter schools, and so the building was purchased, so it's not Metro property. But we would still, of course, be interested in making sure that we support, and however we can help, we would love to. Thank you.
I thought the tour was great, and I know there was a lot more to talk about, so I think everyone got a lot out of it, and it was nice to see some updated facilities that I haven't seen in a while, so it was wonderful, and we appreciate the Parks Department for hosting us. It was really great. So, all right, before we get into future agenda items, do you have the book? So I'm going to bring up a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. I have been talking about this for about 5 years, and COVID kind of threw me off. And I think, Monique, if you had $1 for every time I brought it up to you, you might be retired now. But this book was written a while back, and it's the park's history from day one until 1986. Our good friend Jim Fike spearheaded this, and it was just really given to the Parks Department, and it's amazing. If y'all have, it's very hard to get.
This one is not available.
And this one's not available because they're, but you know, we might consider, you know, reprinting these, and actually I haven't thought about that, but it might be a perfect time to do that. But it's really great to read, and it just shows what a great department we have. So for the last 5 years, I personally have just been talking about, we've got to document our history. There's so many people still alive who can take from 1986 till today. It really hit me hard when our very good friend Art Bodenheimer passed away, who we all love dearly, because he had a lot that he could have inputted into this book. So we need to capture all of these now. So this year I've decided, at my 15th year on the board, I'm spearheading this effort to make it happen, because it's needed, and it's a great thing for the city and the department. I've talked with, of course, Director Odom. I have secured the funds. It'll take about a year. We'll get at least 500 copies. We can always order more. But we need to get moving on this, I think, as a department and for the city. This will be offered to the department and city. It will be inclusive. It'll include interviewing all facets of Nashville. We're going to look for everyone for suggestions on who we should be talking to. We're going to talk to staff. We're going to talk to previous mayors. We're going to talk to community leaders. When I say we will, everyone will be interviewed, have input. You know, we want to touch everything to make sure it's all inclusive and thorough, and it's really just a great thing to have. So I just want to inform everybody. If you have any input, any questions, please let me know. It will take a year to do this thoroughly, but I hope maybe by the end of next year or beginning of 25, you know, we're all handing out copies, and it'd just be a nice thing. History is important, and this department is important, and we've had amazing, Monique and I had met with someone recently talking about the depth of this department. We forget what a great thing we have, how many kids we take care of every afternoon, 2,800, the summer enrichment programs, everything that we do. And so I just want to inform everyone, and you know, let me know if you have any questions, but everyone will be part of it, and your brains will be picked to where we need to be talking and who to be talking to. So just wanted to get that out there. Any questions about that? All right. Next is for future agenda items and announcements.
Well, I also just wanted to echo how much I love the tour. It was, they're always great. This was, I think, a highlight, I would say, again, the maintenance department and seeing how the sausage is made. I'm super excited about the January meeting where they're going to be presenting, so maybe more people can see how the sausage is made, but it was fascinating. I think the highlight for me about the maintenance department was to learn how skilled the staff is on really specific trades. So hopefully we'll learn about that in January. I have a couple of things. I am chairing a ad hoc committee that is going to be meeting in January and February that is looking and reviewing our parks sponsorship policies. So I just wanted to let everybody know that January 23rd and February 13th, and that includes 3 board members, myself, George Anderson, and Pete DeLay, and then park staff, John Holmes, Devon, Darlene, Misty, and then legal. Is it going to still be Courtney, or is Macy? Okay, so. Okay, so then Macy. And so that will be, I think the specifics of those meetings will be announced, but I just wanted to let everybody know that. I guess a housekeeping thing, I think you had mentioned, Monique, Director Odom, excuse me, about distributing the bi-weekly division reports that you get. And I'm not sure if it's an email thing, but if you don't mind just making sure that we're all getting those reports, because I look forward to getting those. And then there was something, my last agenda item I'd like to bring up is there in the discussion last month related to meeting with the new mayor. I was excited to remember and read in the minutes that the discussion was about implementing more funds for our master plan, which got me thinking about the plan to play. And I wanted, it's been a while since we've talked about the plan to play here. In fact, it's been over a year. And I think that the next step, we've, I think, failed to execute the next step from that, which was to get a cost estimate for updating it. So just for people who don't know, the plan to play, and it would be great for to make sure every Parks member has a copy, but it's a 2017 plan where, you know, it's supposed to be a 10-year plan, but the recommendation was that maybe it can be updated after 5 years. That was what we discussed in the meeting last November. So I just want to circle back and ask for, I guess, a few things. One, that we get the cost estimate for updating it. And then that presentation from November was really helpful because it was looking at certain parts of the recommendation. And Tim Nates was the one who presented it. So he talked about the things that he knew about in terms of where we stand. So my future agenda item would be for us to revisit where we stand as a department on where we are according to what it is now. And at the same time, parallel to that, we can be working on a cost estimate for updating it. But I think, we're charged as Parks Board to have a vision or ensure that the department has goals and visions. And it's upon us to make sure that we are achieving those goals or making headway towards achieving those goals. So I just want to either set a meeting on a regular scheduled Parks Day or set a new meeting date, because I think it is, if we're talking about strategic plans, that can be longer than what we might have time for in a regular Parks meeting.
So pursuant to, I referenced this last month, but pursuant to my conversations with Mayor O'Connell, we did talk about an update / supplemental to the existing Parks and Greenways Master Plan. We do have a scope of work. The cost estimate is $570,000. I have submitted that as a part of our capital budget to city leaders. And so hopefully we will get that funded. And that supplemental will include an implementation plan, because as you see, that is a very large document, and it's more a menu of recommendations rather than how to do, what to do, when to do. And it will necessitate bite-sized chunks, I would say, to implement. So a strategy for implementation will be forthcoming as a part of what we're going to work with on this update. And then two, as I shared with Mayor O'Connell, implementation, he totally gets, implementation certainly has to do with, of anything in any master plan, but ours in particular, has to do with political will, funding, community demand. Our population here in Nashville has certainly shifted since 2017 when that was produced, and it's even shifted beyond what was projected in that plan. So I think reviewing all of that information, but again, we do have plan to work with a consultant to update that, or a supplemental to that plan. It will include implementation. There should have been a more robust greenways piece in that plan. That will be included in the supplemental. As I have mentioned to you all on several occasions, we are already in the midst of a facility conditions assessment, which should have been included in there. We will roll that in as a part of the supplemental. And I'm forgetting something else that would be in there, but any updates that we need. So we are definitely working toward that. And I think we'll probably have some internal meetings about, anything else.
Great, that's great news.
Director, what's the timing on the facilities update?
It should take a year, but then rolling it into, and as I mentioned, we've started the first 26 buildings. We've had 52 buildings included in the assessment. They are just finishing up with the first 26, and then we'll start on the next 26 buildings. So probably, I guess 9 more months from now. Yeah, but again, I expect the facility conditions assessment to be incorporated as a part of this supplemental to the current Parks and Greenways Master Plan.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify, this is great news. That's exciting that's already in the works. And so I guess just figuring out, to me, I think it would be more beneficial to have an update on the implementation while the updating of the plan is happening. Mm-hmm. Just so I think we understand the baseline. Mm-hmm. And so if we could get that on a Parks meeting agenda in the same way we did it last time where Tim Nates was presenting, and it could be, maybe it was, operations or finance, because those were, I think, areas that he didn't touch on. But if that could happen in the next several months, that would be great.
And so you're asking for an update of what has been done in alignment with the Parks and Greenways Master Plan, the current one?
Yes, okay. Yes.
Since it's, I don't know if it's too soon And I like the idea a lot, and it's great to hear what you said, Director Odom, as well. But since it's the beginning of the year, January, if we can put is that too soon to maybe do that?
I think it is too soon, and I think you all are asking for a lot of different things on the agenda. So we already have, you asked for for divisions to do presentations. So we've incorporated that. I know that Mr. DeLay had asked something about hearing about law enforcement in parks, strategies, and you said add that to the agenda. I don't know if you want to do that in a Parks Board meeting or a committee meeting. We certainly should not do it without the presence of law enforcement.
Right. We could talk about when we do it in the agenda.
Okay, so that will be that will
That's
be
fine.
some other
Yeah.
time. Okay. And we will work to get the master plan, what you're requesting. We'll get that on the agenda, either January or February.
I think baseline was a good word. What's the baseline where we are? And that way, when the report comes back, that'd be good. All right, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have an immediate request, but I don't think I've done a great job sharing with this body what's happening politically around education. And I'm not running for a third term as a school board member, so I know I won't be on the Parks Board for much longer, but wanted to make you all aware of some things that will be coming down the pike around numeracy that will impact tax dollars, which of course impacts the entire Metro budget, around even if you were familiar at all with the third grade literacy retention bill that was passed 2 years ago that went into effect this past summer. Current fourth grade students are still kind of, for lack of a better phrase, on the hook for passing the fourth grade TCAP, so that will impact some funding. The numeracy portion that is set to come before us in the new legislative season or session will likely impact tax dollars, and then any implementation or further implementation of vouchers. Now, on the surface, that seems like it's outside of the park's purview because vouchers are private school, taxpayer dollars going to private schools, but the idea that those new private schools will likely be looking for new space is also something that I just want you to keep on your radar, that if these private schools are allowed to not only take tax dollars, but also use taxpayers' space, just something to consider. Again, nothing right now, but something that you all should be aware of that will be happening between January and April when the legislators meet. I think if this body does not consistently have conversation with the Davidson County delegation, I know the school board, we're at least having conversation with some other government departments, like maybe an MNPD, maybe the fire department, maybe even health, to see what that might look like for us to coalesce and have at least one or two regular meetings throughout a year with the Davidson County delegation of the state legislature, just so that we make sure that they understand what we see in implementation of those policies and laws versus what they hear at the Hill. So just a few different things around education that I'll be sure whoever succeeds me will be more aware of, and kind of, even if it's just a half-page, one-pager that MNPS shares with the Parks Department and other government agencies consistently, year to year, so you all know what's happening. It just could be very helpful. We are doing a better job of working together as a city, but still not quite there with the disjointed nature of our boards and commissions and elected. So thank you for allowing me the space.
Thank you for that input. All right, anything else? I entertain a motion for adjournment.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.